Hey y'all, it's Yun. I hope you're having a marvelous day, and we are going to go through yet another episode of Looking for Old and Abandoned Places. And you may ask, what am I doing here in this little area right here? And the answer would be the fact that I'm going to show you a hidden gem today. The thing is, we're right beside a major secondary road. In fact, if you listen, you can hear the sounds of cars going back and forth. There's one right now. And this secondary road gets a lot of traffic. A lot of traffic. And what I would tell you is that where we're visiting today, 90 to 95% of the people who travel on that road have no idea this is here. Mostly because it's a little bit out of the way. You have to look off the road slightly to the side in an area that you don't think anything's there. And secondly, at this time of year, since it's summer now, it's been a while since I've made any videos, during the summer, it's pretty much all hidden by growth. So you might be able to see an edge of it there at the very front corner. This is not a small place we're going to be visiting today. This is an abandoned meat processing facility. And as you probably saw a moment ago, it's not even really visible from the road because the trees and stuff have grown up all around it, and it's actually covered in vines. Now, I am not even going to imagine going down there. You probably can't see it, but there's giant spider webs here with spiders in them, and I am not a fan of spiders whatsoever. But this building is actually pretty tall. So we're going to walk around to the side here. I have tried to research this facility. I came here a number of years ago before things got quite as overgrown as it is now. Again, it is barely noticeable through the trees and all the vines growing over it. I'm also going to be very careful because some of these vines, I'm fairly positive, are poison ivy, and they're pretty thick. So I'm not really interested in dealing with that for the next couple of days or a week or so. So I'm going to be kind of careful going through here. But you can see lots of vine coverage slowly eating this up. And you really can't take in the size right now because of that amount of coverage. But you're going to have a better glimpse in just a moment. So again, I tried visiting here a couple of years ago. I came through here, took some photos of it. The photos are okay, but it's a slightly better time of year, so it's more visible. I actually got some pictures that I believe showed me most of the name of the location. Old business sign that's painted on the side of it. So I tried looking up what I could get from that, and I could not find any information whatsoever on this location. So if somebody who knows more about it can watch this and comment on it and let me know some history, that would be great. Because again, there's nothing. There's no paperwork in there for me to look at. No signage other than what's painted on the side of the building. And the building, as you can tell, is kind of dilapidated. It is a reasonably modern building. It's cinder block. It has electronics, and you'll be able to see that in a moment. All I know is it's a meat packing plant. I believe it was something like Fairview Meat or something like that. But again, there's nothing that comes up on that on Google at all. We're going to take a short aside here because at the back, they actually have this very nice, construction's still very solid. Looks like they had a picnic area or something like that for people to get outside instead of staying in there all day. So we're going to walk back here. What I will tell you is the road next to this was just redone extensively, very extensively. Lots and lots of money spent on that, new bridge, construction, widening things out. And that's partly because this area is expanding, but the Reedy River is running right next to us, directly ahead, just over there. So that right-of-way I was walking on is actually Rewa right-of-way. Across the creek are $250,000 homes, nice subdivision with $250,000 homes. And if you go the opposite direction, if you turn around that way over the hillside just a little bit, those are $500,000 homes. So, ooh, I love spiders. Sorry for the fright there. Walked right through a web and did not enjoy that. This is looks like aluminum or tin roofing. The beams are all still in pretty, well, they're starting to buckle in the middle, but they're in pretty good shape. Looks like some people have set up a impromptu fire pit here. The area around this does have some areas where people like to visit. You can see some roots growing through the floors here, and the cinder blocks have kind of been worn away. Yeah, this is a very nice area that they had in here. I have no idea what the rope is for. Doesn't look like the fire pit's been used in a while. And actually, there was something bolted into the floor, it looks like, originally here. Not sure what. The right-of-way goes back a ways, but I am not interested in going that way because I don't really want to trespass. This location, though, I can tell you for a fact, it sits on the Rewall right-of-way, which is probably why no one's doing anything with it, but no one touches this. Again, it's effectively invisible from the road. If you're driving by, I drove by, I knew it was here, I was looking, it was totally 100% invisible right now due to the growth and due to the, it's summer, so you got lots and lots of plants here. So, let's take a slightly better look. Some more wooden materials that look like they've been pulled out of things around here. As you would expect with many places, this has a lot of graffiti, but I seem to recall that most of this graffiti is pretty much the same as the last time I was here. I think the buildup of plant growth has pretty much made it so that nobody wants to come. So I'm going to take a look at this little fuse box over here. I did walk through first and take some photos just so I'd be able to familiarize myself again with it a little bit. Old Westinghouse fuse box. And again, for anyone who actually is in the know, I am by no means an expert. One, this looks like poison ivy to me, growing up along there. And two, that may not be fuses, that may be something older. But it's Westinghouse. See if it has a date on it. No, it doesn't have any dating on it that I can see here. I'm sorry I aimed that off to the left there. I was looking with my eyes and not aiming properly. All right, so let's walk around to the inside if we can. Actually, what we're gonna do first, we're gonna walk around to the side and we're gonna look at where the sign is to see if anyone else can make out anything. If you take a look at the video and you see something and you read it and you think, hey, I think I can read that. That would be cool, because I would appreciate some input. The only word I can make out these days, again, I have old photos of this location that tell me stuff about it. The only thing I can make out these days on the sign is the word beef. And I believe it's a subheading underneath the major company sign, which is no longer visible. So right up in there, you can see some of the lettering. So I see two E's. I can't get much closer because there's a lot of undergrowth here. And some of it looks to be wild berries. And I don't want to run into any animals that like wild berries. But I think you can see kind of right there an EW. I think that's Fairview. I think there's an M. Okay, so there's pork right in front of me. And beef is off to the side a little bit there. You might or might not be able to see because of the way the leaves are there right now and the vines are just conquering everything. If we walk around to the side and look at the front, so the road's right over there. You can hear the traffic. You can see the traffic going by like that. But the entire front of the building is just covered in vines. There is a open bay door there, but you can barely tell there's a bay door through the way it is right now. So let's head around and go inside and see what we can see. Again, the construction of this place is cinder block, so it's reasonably modern. And you can see a few discernible marks, and you can see a few areas where there are rooms, but even there's really nothing left in here to be able to distinguish it much other than that sign. Okay. So we got a little patio here, and you can see the cinder block has been torn down around here. See, I think someone knocked a hole in the wall there because I don't even think there was a window that shape. But I think this probably was some kind of doorway, and someone lined it for whatever reason. Who knows? People have been tagging. So, I don't know what all this crap is. Looks like somebody was messing with stuff here, or maybe it was camped out for a little while. I mean, there's spray paint lids and trees growing up through here, but I don't like the chemical bottles. But you're inside the back bay of this place. You can see that some of the graffiti in here is actually fading now from age. It's kind of becoming increasingly less readable. Yeah, I'm really not happy with these chemical bottles. Didn't notice those when I walked through a little while ago. Looks like a part of an old cell phone back there. Smashed cell phone, and again, lots of bottles. Ugh. Definitely not something I'm going to touch. Phone, pizza box, piping. Yeah, and you can see the weight of stuff is slowly cracking the walls, breaking them down despite the cinder block, and you can see through a nice hole there. Nothing smells foul in here or looks too dangerous. But yeah, exciting fun. Okay. And now back more into the main building area. This looks like it's definitely more recent graffiti. Even then, that might be from 2012. So you can see, this place has been empty long enough. There are some sizable trees growing up through the middle of it. I mean, there's the debris that's been left in here, which maybe... It looks almost like telephone poles, maybe, that have been trimmed down. Hold on. Yeah, this kind of... We'll come back to that in a second. Let's go to this back little corner here before we go that way. So, crouching underneath stuff. And I don't know if the wall... It looks like there was a wall there, or it may have been a balcony to load up trucks. But it's... I mean, yeah, the center block is kind of level there, so it doesn't really look like a wall went down. So that leads back out to the right-of-way. I love these creeping vines. Okay, so there's a window. And yeah, the vines are just everywhere. This room is like, there's no trace of any roof whatsoever. Nothing. You can see through the wall at some points. I don't know. There's a metal piece of metal that's still bolted into the wall right there. Hard to tell. And some pipes. You can see some pipes coming up through here. If this was a meat packing place, it's entirely possible this was like a cooler, and that's why you have that piping running up there. Okay, back under again, not touching any of these vines because I do not want poison ivy. And I'm going to stick my head out this side here to see if there's anything interesting out here. No, it's just another room. Nothing of particular note. So let's take a look at some of these. Again, that's clearly a tree, and it's grown in really weirdly. It's growing across the floor, sideways, and then started going up, which is strange. I mean, it's very thick down there. That root structure is interesting. Maybe it pulled up the roots and fell over, and then adjusted from there. That makes more sense. Right here, though, you can tell how tall this building actually was, because the walls stretch up like there might have been a second floor, or if it was just a vaulted room. You can see windows up there that are above first floor level. Let's walk across and see what else we can see. I don't even know what kind of floor was in here, if this is just covered in debris or if it was just a makeshift floor of some kind. I mean, there's smaller things here that look like brick, but also sometimes it looks like just a broken piece of cinder block. Yeah, it looks like they dumped in some old telephone poles here. It's kind of what it looks like with these extra ones in here rotting. They're too regularly shaped and cut, and it looks like I can see some holes that were drilled in them at points. I don't know if they would use something like that for construction at all. There's another tree growing up out of it, and the edge of the roof, which again is second floor. Here, I like that. You can see where there was a fan, the gear's still within it. It's beautiful. The trees growing through the gears and making a home out of it. Here's the bay door. Along this wall, you can see some little hooks now and then right there. Further back, and I'll show you when I go back. Here's another hook. Looks like a connector of some sort for piping. And then some mounting brackets for a bay door. Looks like they used an I-beam for the top. That's neat. So this part here is still together, but again, you can't see the road at all, and the road can't see you, which is why this place is abandoned and forgotten entirely. Okay, so there's some more metal parts stuck out of the wall there for bracketing, and looks like a pipe of some sort of connector. Oh, it looks like it runs from the junction box, because it runs across and around the top of the building. Didn't notice that before, because I noticed the junction box. The junction box has been pretty well emptied. And looks like they had an emergency shut-off switch here for it. And nice front window. Pull through the wall. Yeah, I had not noticed that that piping for protecting cabling running across the top earlier. Okay. And then we have our last little room here. And this room is actually in fairly decent shape. I mean, obviously it's open, but you can tell it was an enclosed room. The ceiling itself doesn't seem like it would have been that high, because I'm about 6'4", and this is 7.5 feet, maybe. That's not that high. So this room would have been reasonably small. Then again, though, it could be a matter of the fact that there's a bunch of debris that's built up here, and that's raised the level of the floor some. I mean, that dirt runs pretty deep. And I'm right over that little area. This is right over that area I didn't go at the beginning. So, yeah, I'm not going to do much more of that. I don't want to end up down there by accident. So what's funny is on this same stretch of road, which is reasonably well traveled, there are several different interesting abandoned places. One of which I'm going to be probably visiting very shortly and going through various things on that property. Several other which you would definitely need permission for, because they're very visible locations and they're very old houses. You probably can't even really go in them because they're in bad shape. And I don't know how much longer they're going to be around, because this area is undergoing yet more expansion. You know, that whole roadway expansion they put in here that shifted the pattern of the road. I honestly wasn't sure if this was still going to be standing from the construction that they did, because the construction they did pushed over this direction, and that made me think this would be gone. But there are several structures around here that they could not clear because the owners did not want to part with it. But there's a lot of property for sale here, that old houses and lots of land, and the value of the property around here has skyrocketed so much that people are selling it for more than it's really worth, because they know it will be good for developing. So that's making it interesting around here. Well, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you getting to this point with me. If you're interested in the location, or if you have questions, or especially if you have information, since I was unable to find anything on this at all, I would greatly appreciate your input and information on this. Please feel free to comment. Thank you.